Oh Lord. All right, y'all. So the last part, I think it's the last part. It's the last part of the R. Kelly documentary just came on, and I didn't want to wait until tomorrow to do it because I'm just emotionally exhausted with the shit. So I'm going to just get it out the way. Before I start the video, I want to say that I know a lot of people were upset with me or don't understand how I can continue to listen to R. Kelly's music after all of this. But here's the thing, and I've said it before. Would you be happier if I were to lie to you about it? Would that make you feel better? This shit is terrible. This shit is so fucking terrible. But I am the type of person that has always been aware of how fucked up people can be. And therefore, like a lot of people who did it all the way, like that's the thing. Everybody wants to get upset now. But I think I had a firm understanding of what the fuck this was a long time ago. Not a long time ago like when I was a kid, but you know, when his house was getting repossessed, when Jahan Pace was coming out, when the Kitty Jones girl was coming out, I think I had a firm understanding of what this was, but I also looked at it in the same way as the Hugh Hefners of the world. Some women are damaged and choose to be with abusive people. And you could want better for them, but there's only so much you can do. And that's what I think a lot of people are having a hard time with. R. Kelly has become very smart about the way he deals with a lot of these, you know, allegations, whatever. But it's true. I think it's true. These things against him. And I know that y'all want me to say, oh, I'm never going to listen to any of his music again. And I probably won't listen to it for a while. I probably won't turn anything on R. Kelly for a fucking while, to tell y'all the truth. But I can't lie to you and say that one day I won't get in a mood to hear one of his songs that means something in a different way to me. And some of y'all will say, well, some of those songs are about, you know, the little girls that he was having relationships with. I'm not saying every song, but there are certain songs that have tied meanings for me. And that's why I like those songs. But I'm not saying right now I am able to turn on R. Kelly and just be like in this bitch jamming. No. That's not what I'm saying at all, y'all. I'm saying like everybody else in our community, I am having a difficult fucking time balancing with what my emotions are with this situation, because I am not an idiot. As much as I've been called an idiot, I am not an idiot. I'm not stupid. I am not somebody that doesn't understand what this has done to those women. And I'm also not stupid enough to feel like R. Kelly is the only person that's ever fucking done this, white or black. I'm also not one of them people that feel like, oh, we should ignore what he did because he's black. I don't feel in any type of way that he should get away with these things. But after watching this last part, legally, I don't know what anybody can do unless a girl leaves that house with bruises on her and goes to the police and says, R. Kelly just finished beating me. But because he got the pimp game so strong from whoever the fuck he got it from, he has been able to get a lot of these grown-ass women as well as young girls into a place of mental control to where there's nothing actually keeping them from leaving, but they are scared to and feel as if they have nothing else because he tells them that nobody loves them and nobody cares. But there are the savages and the Clarys who are trying so very, very hard to get their daughters out of this situation after they introduced their children to R. Kelly and were there right with them at concerts. And a lot of the reasoning why they chose to bring their children around R. Kelly is because the courts had not convicted him. He'd been acquitted, therefore they felt that it wasn't true. I remember the first time I saw that video, and even though I didn't understand as far as how I understand now, because I feel like as teenagers, preteens, our brains are not fully formed. We don't get it. But when I got older, I got it. And at the same time, I'm the type of, like, I love music. So it was very hard, and it's still very hard for me to not separate the two. Like, I can really go in my mind and be like, okay, this over here, this over here. I can do that, and a lot of people can't, and I understand it. And I'm not mad at radio stations that don't want to play his records. I'm not mad at anybody that wants to cancel his tours. I'm not mad at any of the backlash. What I'm being honest with y'all about is what's happening with me, because this is my channel. And if you feel something differently, that's fine. I don't fault anybody, but I'm just coming to you from the standpoint of somebody that was not like no stan or no diehard fan, but like I said, 90s R&B music is my shit. Okay, so I need for y'all to understand where I'm coming from, because I don't like to be misunderstood. I'm not okay with this. I don't buy tickets. I don't buy records. I bought records. I didn't even buy records. To be honest with y'all, don't tell nobody. I downloaded shit from Napster in the 90s. Put it on the iPod and have continually transferred everything from one iPod to the next iPod. The only thing that I actually went out and got was Black Panties. And there are a few songs off that record that I loved. And they played a couple of them on the radio, which is why I went and got the album. And like I said, after years of this shit not being in my mind, you almost kind of just be like, you know what I'm saying? We, us, community, me too, okay? Like, if y'all want to be mad at me, that's fine. I mean, honestly, that's nothing. I mean, what y'all want me to do? Like, I'm just being real. If you want to be mad at Bondi, if you want to dislike Bondi's videos, if you want to unsubscribe to Bondi because I'm being real with y'all about how I feel about the music versus the person, then by all means do that. I can't force nobody to follow me, just like y'all can't force people to not listen to his music or to listen to his music. But like I said, it's gonna be a long time before I'm able to even see his name at all, because it's a lot. It's a lot, and to regurgitate it and think about it, and like I often do, I put myself in a person's situation. And I was a young girl, and I remember what it was like being infatuated with people and having people emotionally abuse me. So I understand how this can happen, even to grown women. And it's so sad that there's nothing that can really be done, because by the time people want to go and tell somebody, there isn't any evidence. There isn't any proof. Nothing that you can take to the police and be like, this is what it is. But I just wanted to get that off my chest, and we'll get into some of my notes. So in 2016, Dominique Gardner met with him at 17. She had been seeing R. Kelly after her mom called the police. She wanted to move to Atlanta to be with Robert. So this is another one of them girls who was technically of age for the state that she was in. And I looked this up today and realized that a lot of states, do you know the legal age of consent is 16 in a lot of these states? I'm just saying, putting that out there. Because everybody's like, oh, it's 17 in your state. Some of the most progressive states have 18 as the legal age of consent. But I think R. Kelly looks up that age of consent in whatever city he's gonna be in, to be honest with you, to know who he can flaunt and who he can't flaunt. Geronda was there for 6 months when she was 16. She went through a depression because he slapped her, and he sorry y'all, my eyes. I gotta put on my glasses to read these notes because I've been drinking, because I had to drink to get through this shit. Yeah, okay, so Geronda was there for 6 months at 16. She went through a depression. He slapped her and choked her until she passed out. After that, she decided to leave. A staff member tried to help Dominique. There was a staff member, y'all, who was there. And I'm guessing it might be the assistant, because it's somebody who knows a lot about what was going on. But they weren't being shown. Dominique had been molded to be a stud chick so that R. Kelly can play his little boy games with her. Y'all, what the fuck is that? Then I found out, because I didn't even know this, that he spoke out against his daughter for being a stud, saying he didn't like that, he was uncomfortable with that. And I just kind of feel like it's almost like anything that was a representation of what he was doing, which he knows is wrong, he didn't want his children to be like or do. Which makes me feel like he wasn't doing anything to his children, but he was doing it to everybody else's children. Jocelyn Savage met R. Kelly at 19, also of legal age, wanted to sing. Her parents brought her to an R. Kelly concert in 2008. They didn't think about the trial because he got acquitted. Now let me tell y'all something. I want y'all to understand something. I listen to whatever I want to listen to in the privacy of my home, on my iPad, whatever, whatever. But I don't think for a second I thought I would want to be in R. Kelly's presence or have my niece around R. Kelly. Like, I'm just saying, like that, I would have never went as far as to not believe that he did the things he did and bring my child around them. So I have to look at the Clarys and the Savages like you felt as if you had something to gain, and therefore thought that it wouldn't be bad if you kept your eye on your child and just push those things in the back of your head. I mean, who would bring their child around him without even Googling the tape if they knew about the trial, y'all? Like, I'm just saying, and I know I don't want it to ever seem like I'm blaming the victim. But a lot of these grown-ass women, I have to look at them like, what were you thinking? Because how could you not have looked up any of this shit before you decided to have sex with him? We're going to continue, okay? So, because he got acquitted, a lot of the parents didn't take any of this shit seriously and brought their children to his concerts. And later, he would bring a child up on the stage, 17, 18, whatever, bring her up on stage. And then when she would be let go backstage, hand her his number, get her number, whatever. So in 2016, things got worse for the Savages when their daughter Jocelyn graduated from high school and never came back home. When they called her, she told them she was in a hotel somewhere with R. Kelly. R. Kelly made her do a video for TMZ, I remember this. And she said that everything was okay, everything didn't look okay. You could see shadows in the background telling her to cut. His show in Chicago got canceled when the Savages, well, not his show in Chicago, but several shows. His tour started to get canceled when the Savages came out. And this was like a resurgence of the shit in a way. The Geronda stuff, the Savages, this was a resurgence of things that had kind of been quiet for a minute. And let me remind y'all, they still play this nigga on the radio. They was playing this nigga on the radio like yesterday, okay? TMZ called Jocelyn and Dominique on the street. So her mom talked to the producers and they went to Beverly Hills looking for her. She goes to a hotel, finds out she's at the hotel across the street. Goes to the hotel, sees her daughter, talks to her daughter through the door, and then somebody calls the police on her. Eventually, she got her daughter out and was able to take her daughter home. And her daughter was crying and the cameras weren't really close. 3 days later, she went back to R. Kelly but then left again. So this leads me to believe that the girls actually can physically leave. But emotionally, a lot of them always want to come back. So then Love Letter came out. And he wrote the soundtrack for Sparkle. And then Whitney Houston, you know, died and he sang at her funeral. And we compartmentalized the negative. They talked about this on this documentary, how we as the community of black people, we put him in a box. And we do this, like I said, I'm doing this with the music, but people really did it when they keep buying the records and keep going to tours. Like, I feel like as long as I'm not seeing you in person, I'm separating myself from you, y'all, but it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. And honestly, I'm not about to be mad at myself or be mad at anybody else for how they feel about this, because I feel like this shit is traumatic. Like, how the fuck you go through all, you know what I'm saying, years and years of liking people and looking up to them in this community because we only have us, and they do this to us, and then nobody cares because we little black girls. And I say we because I'm a little black girl. And yes, if my father would not, and my mother and my father were not looking out for me the way they were, anything could have happened to me. Kitty Jones, the radio girl, who was like 30-something years old, who was a girlfriend of R. Kelly's, said she quit her job and went to Chicago to live with R. Kelly. And then somebody told her, girl, this nigga's a pedophile. Go look up that sex tape. She looked up the sex tape after she'd moved to go and live with him and saw it and was disgusted. Okay? She brought it up to him. And he told her, bitch, don't ever ask me about no shit like that. That's lies, blockity, 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 block, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. He told her he was gonna beat her ass when he saw her. I'm thinking, okay, sis, don't go back to Chicago. She went back to Chicago and got her ass beat in a car, y'all. This shit is crazy. Okay? Like, crazy. She also put 2 and 2 together that she had met that girl, that 14-year-old girl, Sparkle's niece, before. She had met that girl 2 weeks prior to seeing her in the video. That means that girl is still hanging around him. And from what I understand, he has a girl that is a trainer that trains all of the girls that come in to be who he wants them to be and do what he wants them to do. Something tells me that girl is Sparkle's niece. Yeah, that shit is crazy to me. That shit is crazy to me. Kitty came back to him and he started training her. And y'all, she said that all he used to watch was dance moms, watching little girls dance. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, y'all? Like, Jesus Christ. I used to watch that show, that and Bring It, and I love Bring It more than Dance Moms. But something about those shows made me feel like, man, the pedophiles of the world are probably watching this shit. Like, I've had thoughts about that. So the fact that she said that, it was like, damn. So they talk about what punishment would be with R. Kelly. Punishment could be beating, could be being confined to a room for days, could be no food. And the employee says that at first she judged the girls and not him. And then she started listening to him and what he would say to make the girls do what they did. Then Kitty was his cage girl on his tour. Y'all, the fact that he was still doing tours, okay? And to keep her from leaving, he said, come on the tour, be a part of my show. Because she was ready to go. But she stayed after this. And there was like a skit where she comes on stage and, lays on the bed, he puts his head between her legs, some shit he'd been doing for decades, okay? Also would have her sign like a little piece of paper saying that he could do whatever he wanted to do. Which is something that he later did when they got home. And I'm like, the fact that this motherfucker would almost tell you the absolute and utter fucking truth, okay? He would tell you the absolute truth when it comes to this music, y'all. I remember thinking about Seems Like It's Ready like a long time ago. Like, I could have sworn she was ready. Like, motherfucker. Like, really? Really? But then, Diamond was dancing on the Players Club when Seems Like It's Ready came on. And then that's what stuck in my... So, it's, y'all, this is very difficult to navigate through. I'm gonna just go ahead and be honest with y'all, right? All right, so she signed a contract, and then her breaking point was when he starved her for 3 days. She had had enough. She packed her bag, went to the airport, and she thought about going home and the shame she would feel, and decided to start calling and texting him, but he never picked up. And that was the only reason she got on that plane and went home. So then we gotta talk about Azriel. Azriel met Robert at 17. Another girl pulled out the crowd. That's the Clarys. Her parents were there with her. Okay, she sing. He want to help her with her singing career. The parents was always there, but then all of a sudden their daughter started disappearing. Come to find out she was R. Kelly. And they're like, what the fuck? Sooner or later she goes to live with him, never comes back home. Alright? And Azriel's sister tried to go and get her. I think she was trying to bring her sister in or something like that. She was like, oh, you just have to call him and all of this shit. And then her sister went through all these rooms looking for her. And she's grabbing her sister, and R. Kelly's grabbing her sister. And then security take the sister outside. And the sister wants to call the police. And he threatens her and her family and her sister, saying your sister won't get out alive if you don't shut your fucking mouth. So she goes back home and doesn't tell her parents. Months later, after like some other stories came out, she told her parents about what happened when she went looking for her sister, and they wished that she would have told them, even though they understood why she didn't. So they went to Chicago, and R. Kelly and Azriel made it seem like the sister was overreacting and then shit was all good. So they left it alone and thought that it was all good. Okay, they agreed to a custodial guardian through the record label, which I'm like, obviously this motherfucker has so many people in his pocket, you can't know who you can trust. The record label, police officers in different states. I mean, first of all, the FBI needs to investigate the Chicago Police Department. Because if y'all allowing that shit to go on and not doing nothing and giving him heads up when people are coming to look, y'all fucking asses need to be in jail too. So 2015, he did a video saying that we gotta support each other because no one was checking for that album buffet. He had some angry interview with a lady who was asking about, you know, the girls and what was going on, and he got mad and saying he wasn't about to go through an interrogation, so he got up and left. He has difficulty reading some words, so people, including the employee who was hiding herself, was lying to him about what the press was saying about him. Moving along, y'all, where we at? The Savages decided to do wellness checks on Jocelyn, but she wasn't there. So they reached out to the Clary family, and they got Chicago PD to do a wellness check, but somebody gave him the heads up. Then we get to Ashanta McGee, who was a diehard fan and 35 years old. Okay, she says she came from an abusive marriage, and he was honest about the fact that he was messing with other women, which made her believe that, oh, at least he's being honest and not cheating on me like the previous man I was with. Okay, dream come true for her. She willing to do whatever for this nigga. She lived in Atlanta, traveled back and forth. He would travel back and forth too. 2 years into the relationship, he told her to move in. Didn't ask her, told her. Moved her and some other women into a house. Then she started to have to ask for permission and daddy and all of that shit. Then he got evicted from his homes in Atlanta in 2018 because he's not making the same money. He doesn't get money from royalties, and he has to tour to maintain his lifestyle. And people started to end those tours. So I remember when the eviction video came out, people were like, ain't had no girls in there. I'm like, obviously he moved the bitches. Like, you know, hate to call them bitches like that, but you know, I'm just saying there's a harem of women. He moved them. And, you know, you wondered how. And because he had police in his pocket. The girl Ashanta goes back to the house in Atlanta that he was evicted from, and she goes to this room that was the black room. And she said that some of the most degrading things ever that you couldn't even speak of, think of, he had them doing in there. And even if you didn't want to do it, you had to play along. She said there were times when she banged on the floor for hours for food, and he never came. So eventually she packed her bags and left. So then we started Mute R. Kelly. And they, you know, Tom Jones said he wasn't gonna play him anymore, and they were canceling more shows. And you know, the funny part about it is all this went on and he wasn't included in the Me Too movement, which is crazy to me that he wasn't included in that. So then Faith Rogers, after all of this, you know, Mute R. Kelly and shit, met him in 2017. He told her about the girls. Then she met Jocelyn and saw Jocelyn jump up like a puppy and kiss him, just looking at him like a fucking puppy dog, like a robot. And then when he would leave, she would be numb. It was obvious that she was brainwashed. She, the girl, Faith, left and reached out to the Savages. She told them about her meeting with Jocelyn, and that's when they told her that you need to get yourself checked because we know for a fact that our daughter has an incurable STD. She got checked and found out that R. Kelly had given her herpes. Y'all, this shit is terrible. I told y'all herpes is terrible, right? It's fucking terrible. I don't have it. I know people who have it. And from what I understand, it's fucking terrible. So the girl gets mad at herself. And then we see people speaking out against him like Vince Staples at Coachella. Then Chance the Rapper apologized for not listening to black women and still doing music with R. Kelly in 2015. Then Chicago canceled R. Kelly. Azriel's parents saw text messages on iCloud that said that they had sex the first time that R. Kelly met Azriel in 2017. The Clarys did a welfare check on the show, and Azriel had escaped before, but they brought her back. And I mean, I feel like brought her back. She called them and they came and got her ass, because I feel like he done let all these other women go. You know, when they decide that they can't take it no more and they get up and leave. But, you know, you never fucking know. Anyway, they called the police because they found out that they were at a studio. The Dominique girl told the Clarys that she might still be at the studio. So they went to the studio and got the police to come. But nobody would come through the door. The Clarys stayed there as long as they could, throwing rocks at the window. And somebody turned off the lights and closed the curtains. But they couldn't tell who it was. And lastly, we see them outside pleading for their daughter to come outside. Then Wendy talks about it about her conversation with R. Kelly, about him liking petite women. And then the I Admit song that came out, and I talked about that and I dissected that song. And he admitted some things in the song, but for the most part, it was a narcissistic attempt at trying to gain sympathy from people. And the wool wasn't pulled over my eyes, to say the least. At the end, one of the things I saw was a lot of these women went on to help other abused women and write books and just try to get their story out there. But I want to say that shout out to Dream Hampton, who produced this, because I don't think that there has been anything to this extent to showcase pain towards black girls in this way through what has happened with R. Kelly. And it is fucking profoundly fucked up. It is profoundly fucked up that so many people continue to protect him and keep him well insulated, regardless of the fact that he's running out of fucking money. But I would just say that people need to stop buying tickets to them tours. I mean, the only thing you can do now is stream, and he's not getting paid for all of this music because apparently he doesn't own the masters. I've said that before. But people still say that, you know, I shouldn't listen to him. I'm going to tell y'all that I ain't going to be listening to him for a while. But like I said, I can't promise anything in the future because y'all know how it is. Y'all will forget about this shit. Everybody be talking that shit and in an uproar one day, and then you give it a week and then everybody's on to something else. But I will say this. The only reason I did this is because I feel like if you couldn't watch it, I wanted you to know so that you would have an idea of what was going on. If you hadn't been through this, I wanted you to know that this is what niggas do, what men do, and that women should watch for the signs. Young girls should watch for the signs. You shouldn't want to be with no grown-ass man, even if he is a superstar. Consider the fact that money doesn't buy happiness, and somebody being a celebrity does not mean they are not a pedophile, a statutory rapist, a murderer, or anything else. Celebrity means absolutely nothing except for the fact that a lot of people know who the fuck you are. And apparently that does nothing to put them in jail when they take advantage of so many people and ruin so many people's lives. I hope that, like a lot of you said you were triggered, I hope that with some of you, this made you feel like there were people out there who understood what you were going through, made you feel like something can be done, maybe not considering the fact that nothing has been done to this nigga. Y'all, it's a lot. It's just really, really a lot. And even though I feel like the parents are at fault because they didn't do their due diligence, I still feel very bad for them that they have to go through this, that their daughter is somewhere and they haven't seen her for 3 years. Whew, going on 4. But I'm telling y'all, somebody gonna kill this nigga eventually. Eventually, if these girls are in as much pain as they seem to be, somebody's gonna click out. The thing about oppressed people is they don't always stay oppressed. They either run, flee, or one day R. Kelly's gonna wake up with some things cut off. And that might be the appropriate, you know, the appropriate justice in the end. But I just pray that he get his just due. I pray that he gets his karma. Because this shit was just fucking terrible. Terrible, y'all. Even for the grown women. Even for the grown women, this shit was just terrible. And they made it a point to show you the 35-year-old and the 30-year-old and 20-something-year-old who was able to fall into this bullshit, because they wanted you to understand that if a grown-ass woman could fall into this bullshit, then you know 14, 15, 16, 17 didn't have a fucking chance. Y'all. I'm done. I'm done. I was done. And then I remember that I wanted to say something. This whole being able to sign non-disclosure agreements and settle out of court for rape cases needs to be illegal. It needs to be illegal to not publicly charge somebody in the system for sexual abuse and domestic violence. I feel like there's no way that this should be able to continue to go on. And it goes on because they've been able to make it legal. So I just wanted to say that. And I also want to say that I'm not judging any of these women, y'all. I'm just expressing to y'all what comes into my mind and what I'm trying to understand and what I'm trying to grasp about all of this. This shit is so fucked up. It is hard to grasp the whole concept and everything and understand. It's just hard, y'all. And I'm just talking about it because I want people to be aware. But that doesn't mean that I have all the answers or that I know what the right thing to say in all of this, y'all. But yeah, now I'm done.